Good day. What are multimodal elements? Can you compose text with multimodal elements? Welcome to my channel. Today, we are to discuss Lesson 6, Multimodal Elements from Pivot for a Learner's Material, Quarter 2, English, Grade 10. I know that you are all excited to learn, and I am Dr. Jan-Ann-Rey, your subject teacher. I hope you prepared the following materials: notebook, paper, pen, and of course, our Pivot for a Learner's Material, Quarter 2, English, Grade 10. Now, our learning objectives. Number 1, analyze samples of multimodal texts and discover how they are made for their specific purposes. Number 2, compose texts with multimodal elements. Now, let us discuss multimodal elements. Technology has truly changed the way people perceive information. From details usually printed on paper to internet-based programs that allow information to pop up on people's gadgets. The society we live in is indeed relying on information presented in and through different modes. This lesson focuses on understanding multimodal texts and their uses. As you journey through this part of the module, you'll be engaged in analyzing samples of multimodal texts and discovering how they are made for their specific purposes. You're also expected to compose texts with multimodal elements. How do you want your lessons presented? Do you prefer using textbooks and handouts? Or would you rather study slides and access web links online? Now, read and examine the infographic provided below. Then, answer and reflect on the questions that follow. Lipa City National High School. Enrollment starts May 6. You have the JHS or the Junior High School. OHSP, Open High School Program. We also have the SPED, Special Education, and SIPCA, Special Interest Program for Culture and the Arts. We have the documentary requirements and some perks of being a city henyo. I will be repeating the instructions. Read and examine the infographic provided below. Then answer and reflect on the questions that follow. Here's the infographic. First question. What is the material all about? Again, what is the material all about? Number 2. What elements make up the given material? Do you see pure text? Are there photos and other elements? Again, what elements make up the given material? Do you see pure text? Are there photos and other elements? Number 3. What do you think is the purpose of combining several elements when presenting information? Again, what do you think is the purpose of combining several elements when presenting information? Number 4. What do you think will happen if an element or two is or are omitted? Again, what do you think will happen if an element or two is or are omitted? Will removing an element, like an image, affect the way someone perceives information? Again, will removing an element, like an image, affect the way someone perceives information? Now, learning task 1. How familiar are you with the materials used in presenting information? A total of 10 different materials are hidden in the word search puzzle on the next page. List down all that you will find. Okay? Once again, we have here 10 different materials. Now, go ahead. Multimodal elements. The way information is presented greatly affects the manner it is perceived. Luckily, through continuous developments in the field of digital communication technology, we are now able to learn not only from traditional texts that we have to read sequentially, but likewise through interactive materials in various digital and non digital platforms like posters, infographics, blogs, animations, and web pages, among others. The examples of materials cited above fall under a classification known as multimodal texts. A text is considered multimodal when it combines two or more communication modes to present information. In the context of multimodal compositions, mode refers to the method of communication being employed. It can be linguistic, visual, auditory, gestural, or spatial. Once again, mode refers to the method of communication being employed. While composing multimodal texts is usually associated with the use of online and digital platforms, a multimodal text does not necessarily have to be digital in form. Generally, a multimodal text may be print based or paper, digital, live or transmedia, or using multiple delivery channels. Processing information in a multimodal text is one thing, while composing an example of multimodal text is another. Multimodal texts can range from simple to complex ones, with the level of complexity usually depending on what modes to combine. Understanding the interconnections between these modes and what platforms or technologies to use. The table below shows examples of different multimodal texts. We have two columns. The first column has to do with simple multimodal text, and the second column has to do with complex multimodal text. Now, simple. Here are the examples: newspapers, brochures, comics, graphic novels, picture books, print advertisements, posters, storyboards, slide presentations, ebooks, e-posters, and social media. How about complex? Animations, digital stories, web pages, documentaries, book trailers, live action films, and video games. So these are the examples of multimodal texts. The first one, simple, then complex. In multimodal texts, information is presented and meaning is conveyed through combinations of different modes across written and spoken languages or linguistic. still and moving images, visual, sounds, gestures, and spatial semiotic resources. Composing text with multimodal elements. Creating examples of multimodal texts is becoming a common practice and an essential skill to be developed among students. However, it can be tough, especially when someone has limited background about certain elements and processes. When composing a text with multimodal elements, it is essential for one to understand how information can be presented using various modes and how these modes can work together to convey the intended meaning. Knowing how to maneuver applicable technologies or applications to be used in composing multimodal texts is also important. The list below presents essential considerations in composing or producing effective multimodal texts. We have five considerations. Number one, textual knowledge. Number two, technological knowledge. Number three, semiotic knowledge. Number four, ability to combine various modes. And number five, understanding different genres. Okay, so what is the meaning of the first one? Textual knowledge, a clear understanding of the information at hand or the specific subject from which the multimodal composition is based is essential. This will serve as the basis of determining how information will be conveyed and what modes may work best for the information available. So the keyword here is information. Don't forget that textual knowledge. So, the information. Number two, technological knowledge. It is imperative to understand what technological tools and processes will best work for the kind of multimodal text to be produced. Keywords, technological tools and processes. Number two, technological knowledge. How about number three, semiotic knowledge? This refers to understanding how each mode can work to convey meaning, where each mode or semiotic system has its own function. Okay? Number three, semiotic knowledge, and the keyword is meaning. Next, number four, ability to combine various modes. When composing multimodal text, it is vital to understand what combinations will work best in conveying the meaning of a specific set of information. I will be repeating ability to combine various modes. So we have here the combinations of modes. Number five, understanding different genres. Like in writing, it is also important in multimodal compositions to take into consideration the purpose, target audience, and text type. Don't forget this, okay? You have to consider the purpose, target audience, and text type. Understanding different genres. Now, learning task 2. Read the statements about multimodal compositions. Identify each as true or false. Again, true or false. Number one, multimodal texts combine two or more modes in presenting information. Again, multimodal texts combine two or more modes in presenting information. True or false. Number two, all multimodal texts are digital in form. True or false? Number three, print-based materials cannot include multimodal elements. Again, print-based materials cannot include multimodal elements. True or false? Next, Technological knowledge is not important in multimodal compositions. Again, technological knowledge is not important in multimodal compositions. True or false? Number five, slides made using PowerPoint can be an example of a multimodal text. Again, slides made using PowerPoint can be an example of a multimodal text. True or false? Learning task 3. For each of the topics provided below, suggest at least three forms of multimodal text that can be produced to present effectively the information and the intended meaning. Use the format provided. An example has been given to serve as your guide. So we have here the topic or the text and the suggested multimodal composition. The first one, avoiding COVID-19 infection, and the suggested multimodal composition, posters, infographics, slideshows. We also have classifications of plants, advocacy on ending violence against children, and the last one, COVID-19 updates in the Philippines. What are the suggested multimodal composition? Go ahead. Learning task 4. Gather enough information about the topic provided below. You may use books or newspapers as references. You may also use online resources if you have a way to connect to the internet. Then, come up with a multimodal composition that you will produce to present the information you have about the given topic. That is our learning task 4. The topic, stories of courage among Filipino COVID-19 frontliners. I will be repeating the topic. Stories of courage among Filipino COVID-19 frontliners. Learning task 5. As your final task for this lesson, you will need to come up with a text that uses multimodal elements. The specific instructions are given below. Final mission. Your final output for this lesson is to create an infographic about a given topic. Infographics are graphic visual representations of information, data, or knowledge intended to quickly and clearly present information. So, this is your final mission, your final output. You are to create an infographic about a given topic. If you have a way to connect to the internet, you may look for samples of infographics online. Remember that you will need to research about your chosen topic first before you can start making the infographic. If possible, you may use online applications to create your output for this lesson. Print your output and paste it. Okay? And if using a gadget or connecting to the internet is not possible, you may use available materials like colored papers and old magazines to craft your output. What are the topics? Number one, effective study habits for distance learning. Number two, ways to combat stress during a global health crisis. Number three, 10 things people might not know about my city or town or barangay. Fill in the blanks with the missing terms to complete the meaning of the paragraphs provided below. Choose from the given pool of options. I have here the options: linguistic, form, multimodal, gestures, combines, sound, digital, sequentially, purpose, knowledge, audience. A multimodal text, blank, two or more modes to present information and convey meaning. It differs from traditional texts that need to be read blank. In composing texts with multimodal elements, mode refers to methods of communication employed in presenting information. One may choose to combine two or more of the five modes, which are blank, visual, blank, blank, and spatial. Although multimodal composition is usually associated with the term blank, multimodal texts do not necessarily have to be in digital blank. In order to create effective multimodal text, one needs to have enough blank of the text or subject where the information to be presented is based. It is also important to be clear on the blank, target blank, and text type. That's it. References. Pivot for a Learner's Material, Quarter 2, English, Grade 10. Our website. Do you have questions? Kindly use our comment section. It is my pleasure to answer and entertain your questions. Go ahead, use the comment section. Kindly like this video. Thank you very much. Handang isip, handa bukas. Sama-sama sa pagsulong ng edukalidad. I am Miss Jan-Ann-Rey Consignado, and please subscribe to my channel because next time I will be uploading again our lesson in English 10. Thank you. Stay safe, healthy, and happy. Goodbye.